Eyes dry shit. Bob Arum wanted Guillermo Rigondeaux's in-ring mindset to venture away from the highly accredited and highly acclaimed tutelage of the Cuban School of Boxing. Bob Arum is very long in the tooth. I've noticed the older he's gotten, the more bloodshed he covets. I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live with Real Combat Media, and I cover boxing. Today we're going to talk about Guillermo Rigondeaux versus Chris Avalos. The purse bid, it's not official yet. Why? Because guess what? This Chris Avalos guy just so happens to be the mandatory for a much bigger fight and a much more lucrative opponent in Frampton for IBF title. So if you don't know, Guillermo Rigondeaux has the WBA Super World and the WBL 122-pound super bantamweight title. He's 14-0 with 9 KOs. Chris Avalos is 24-2 with 18 KOs. But here's the thing: those 2 losses have come by split decision. And just to get it straight out of the way, if the fight does happen, Rigondeaux's going to knock this guy out. Now, his only 2 losses, I don't know if I just said it already, but his only 2 losses have come by split decision. Why? Because he goes out there and, I guess, how can I put it? He's wild. This guy is wild, and then, if he has an early start, for example, after rounds 5, you should be able to figure him out, because whatever game plan he's had, it's out the window by that point in time. So one fight you should go watch, and to see what I mean is a fighter by the name of Jonathan Romero. So go check out that fight. I know I'm talking a little fast, but I'm trying to get a point across. So I want you to listen to this little piece of this interview here. We're going to talk about it. You're going to see what I mean. T Street Controversy Live. Subscribe.
Yeah, it was not a very engaging fight, but that was the best way that, although, if Rigondeaux stands and fights, the son of a bitch has a lot of power, and he has a lot of movement, but, he has a lot of power, and he has a lot of skill, but running the way he does really makes it into not a watchable fight.
See, isn't that what old people do? Isn't that what old people do? You just can't be going around calling your fighters a son of a bitch. That's old people stuff. So, what I'm understanding is that Guillermo Rigondeaux took it a little personal. I don't know. But whatever the case may be, Bob Arum does have a point. You do have to sell tickets. If you notice one thing about the Cuban School of Boxing boxers, is that they are known to not fill seats. They are known to not be exciting. Here is Landy Lar. But then when you got a person who ventures outside of the tutelage of the highly accredited and highly acclaimed Cuban School of Boxing, Yorkis Gamboa, what happens? He always gets knocked down. See, let me explain it to you. The Cuban School of Boxing is a military of boxing, like junior ROTC on steroids. So it's like a machine. You're in there boxing with chucks on and flip-flops with these old-ass gloves. But guess what? You're getting highly disciplined. It's either you learn or you don't. So I look at it like this. Imagine you had to work a job for the rest of your life, and you enjoyed that job. After a while, you've done it so long that you're comfortable with it. Imagine your job was something repetitive, where you got to do the same thing day in, day out. Imagine if your job was, let me see, those little rubber things, like when you close your car door, it like stopped the car door from making like that doosh. It's like doof. But you probably don't get what I'm saying. But imagine if your job was to make something like that day in, day out. After a while, you're so used to the routine. Cuban School of Boxing, they're so used to fighting the same way. It's just like, all right, let me go and put this shift in. They're the best workers. They're the most skilled. But when it comes to clock out, they don't do no overtime. They're not doing no overtime. That's when the problems start. If they got to work from 8 to 5, then they pissed if they there till 5:02. You guys, would you like to stay for a half an hour? And they just look at you like, and that's the issue sometimes with Guillermo Rigondeaux. So for example, his last fight against a guy he shouldn't have been fighting by the name of Saad Look Nong Young Yang Toy, Yes, that's how the Coquette Gym, Look Nong Young Yang Toy. Yes, that's exactly how you say his name. And when he gets knocked out, you know, by Rigondeaux after, well, guess a cheap shot, I'm thinking like, oh, Rigondeaux's got some marketability. But guess what? Here's the situation. There was a purse bid. The purse bid exactly was a little bit over $300,000. Creed Promotions won. Why? Because they were the only promotional company to bid on it. Chris Avalos is from Top Rank. Chris Avalos has a highly lucrative fight that he can fight, as I explained earlier, if I didn't, with Carl Frampton. So Carl Frampton, Carl Frampton is coming off of a win against Kiko Martinez in front of 16,000. So Chris Avalos can go over there and fight in front of 10,000 plus, you know, and make some more money, or fight Rigondeaux in front of like maybe 2,000-3,000 people, I don't know, and not be televised. You see what I'm saying? So it's not guaranteed yet. We don't know who he's fighting, but then you got to think, like, the fighters out there he can be fighting. Now, I say he should go for Carl Frampton immediately after Avalos, you know, or get a Scott Quigg, because Leo Santa Cruz, here's the thing with Leo Santa Cruz. Leo Santa Cruz is with Al Heyman. That's just enough said right there. I don't want to get into it. And I'm not. You know, I would love to see that fight. Who do I have winning? Yeah, more than you know. But, as it said, I'm T Street Controversy with Real Combat Media. This is T Street Controversy Live. All your boxing articles right below. And what I do is I cover every single major fight live. So whoever he's fighting, televised or not, I'm going to find a way, you know, to watch the fight. But when you got Rigondeaux being sent over to Macau to fight on an undercard against, you know, someone from Thailand at a Coquette Gym, Orlando Salido just beat somebody from the Coquette Gym. And it's just like, okay, you're one of the pound for pound best fighters in the world. Almost kind of like Andre Ward. You got all these skills, but you can't sell nothing. But when it's a Cuban school of boxing guy, remember, they just don't venture outside of the box. You know he can be more exciting. He know, like, yeah, I could dance around a little bit. They're like, but they don't pay me enough. Even if you're paying them $10 million, they'll be like, it's not enough. Like, they don't like doing nothing. They don't like working no overtime, doing nothing, you know, extra. And once again, pointing out Yurkis Gamboa, you know, look at his amateur career, great amateur career, but we always known something about him is that he was optimistic. You know, he always wanted to be out. He always saw, like, wait a minute, there's life outside of the Cuban school. And then every time, you know, he went out of Cuban school, or, you know, he hooky today, what happened? He goes and get knocked out, or he gets knocked down. Well, I don't know. I guess he dropped out when he got knocked out by Terrence Crawford. But what I'm saying is, when he decides to say, you know what, fuck the Cuban school, I'm gonna go out here and fight, he always gets knocked down. You see what I'm saying? So, long story short, I'm T Street Controversy, T Street Controversy Live. I run a boxing forum, is right down below. You gotta send a friend request. I say the same thing every video because I gotta approach every video like it's the #1 video. So, long story short, you gotta send a friend request. There's a reason why I'm telling you to go there. You know, I've been doing a lot of cleaning and bringing, you know, different people in, but there's hundreds of world champion, current and former boxers there, and managers, you know, anybody in the business. And also, I mix it up with certain people, so, you know, we can keep it interesting. T Street Controversy, T Street Controversy Live.